He treated me like property, not a partner. My husband started treating me like a toy about 6 months into our marriage. We'd been together nearly 4 years before that, and everything seemed normal. But once the rings were on, something in his brain snapped. Dylan began doing this thing where he'd just grab me, not affectionate, not playful, more like I was an object he could reposition whenever I got in his way. I'd be cooking, stirring pasta, and he'd come up behind me, wrap his hands around my waist, and physically lift me 2 feet to the side so he could peer into the pot. No, excuse me, no smile, nothing. Just moved me like a lamp blocking his view. Or I'd be watching TV and he'd walk up, wordlessly lift my legs, plop down, and drop them back on his lap like arranging throw pillows. At first I thought maybe he was trying to be goofy, but his face was always blank. No warmth, no teasing, just entitlement. Trying to talk to him was even worse. I would be in the middle of a sentence and he'd pick up his phone and start scrolling. If I kept talking, he'd raise a lazy finger like, "Hold on," without even glancing at me. Once we were arguing because he invited his mom to stay for 2 weeks without asking me. I was explaining why that wasn't okay, and Dylan, mid-sentence, just stood up, walked away, and shut himself in the bathroom. Came back 10 minutes later asking what I wanted for dinner, like we hadn't been discussing anything important at all. But the breaking point? Sunday dinner at his parents' house. His mom asked me how work at the vet clinic was going. I started telling this funny story about a Great Dane terrified of nail clippers. And in the middle of it, while everyone was listening, Dylan reached over and covered my mouth with his hand, fully palm over my lips, like shushing a child, then turned to his dad and said, "Did you see the game last night?" His mom froze with her fork midair. His dad stared at us. Dylan kept his hand on me for a full 3 seconds before I smacked it away. I stood up, walked out, got in the car, and drove home shaking. He showed up an hour later, genuinely confused. "What's your problem?" he asked. "You covered my mouth at dinner." "Yeah, because Dad asked me about the game. I was talking." "You're always talking," he said, then shrugged and went to play video games. That night, I slept on the couch. The next morning, I called my friend Marina, who's a paralegal, and asked what divorces usually look like. Then I started documenting everything. Every time he moved me like furniture. Every time he dismissed me mid-sentence. Every time he acted like I was background noise. 2 weeks later, we were in the grocery store. I was comparing pasta sauces. Garlic marinara versus regular. Nothing dramatic. Dylan walked up, took the jar out of my hand, put it back, grabbed the cheaper one, and tossed it in the cart without a word. I put it back, grabbed the garlic one. He swapped it again. We did this 3 full rounds until I finally said, "I want the garlic one." "The regular is cheaper. It's $1 difference." "I don't care. I want the garlic one." He took it out again. I said, "If you touch that jar one more time, I'm leaving you." He laughed. "Over pasta sauce?" "No," I said. "Over the fact that you treat me like I'm not a person." He rolled his eyes and walked away. I left the cart in the aisle and went to the car. He came out 20 minutes later with 2 bags, regular marinara in one of them. When we got home, I went straight to the bedroom and started packing a suitcase. "You're really doing this over sauce?" he said from the doorway. "No, I'm doing this because you covered my mouth at dinner, because you move me around like a piece of decor, because when I speak, you act like I'm static in the background. You're being dramatic." I zipped the suitcase, walked past him, and he grabbed my arm. "Where are you going?" "To my brother's." I stayed there 3 days. He texted me twice, once asking where the garage door opener was, once asking if I'd paid the water bill. Nothing about us. Nothing about what happened. Just logistics, like I was still his assistant and not his wife. I went back only to grab the rest of my things. I left the house keys on the counter. Filed for divorce the next week.